Honorable Hank Johnson, distinguished guests, my fellow Americans. It is indeed a great honor and privilege for me to speak today on behalf of my Muslim brothers and sisters who, like me, have traveled across the globe and endured hardships. All have unique stories of survival to get where they are today, surrendered their citizenships, and now US citizens like myself. My grandparents left India as young children during the Depression to build the East African Railway for the Germans. I am the granddaughter of a 30-year-old widow whose husband had died of tuberculosis. She had no formal education. She cured and rolled tobacco and sold cigars on the streets of Dar es Salaam. One 5-year-old boy and one unborn baby. No running water, no modern restrooms, a cardboard hut, and a grass roof, and lucky to have peanuts and tea for supper. My maternal grandmother was also widowed early in life, but went on to start her own soda bottling company and was able to raise her children. Having listened to their tragic survival stories and mentored by these very strong women very early in life, I myself was able to move on with my own life, with my small children, when my late husband was murdered in the Buckhead shootings in 1999. That had to be the darkest period of our lives. It was a dark day. May I thank the leadership of Atlanta and all of you, my brothers and sisters of Atlanta, who came in such large numbers to show their support to all the grieving families on that day in July 1999. During the time of mourning, our neighbors Tina and Bo Thompson brought me a copy of the Holy Quran, published in New York in 1883. In 1972, Idi Amin, president of Uganda, started expelling citizens of Uganda of Indian origin. He also declared war against Tanzania, a war that he ended up losing. I was traumatized and confused at the age of 16 that with a passport of the country I was born in, I was no longer wanted in my own country of birth. The feeling of rejection was profound. My parents arranged for me to finish high school in Pakistan. And as soon as I was ready to enter medical school, war again broke out between India and Pakistan. I moved once again, now aged 19, this time to Iran to go to college and to enter medical school. I had never spoken a word of Farsi. I was fortunate to have a scholarship for my first year, so it really did not matter. After arriving in Iran, I wrote to Queen Farah Diba of Iran that I had been admitted to Pahlavi University and was only guaranteed tuition for 1 year. Her Majesty granted me a scholarship to cover tuition, room and board. However, her generosity knew no bounds. She felt it was important for me to visit my parents at least once a year and added a little buffer to the scholarship. My parents then had been forced to relocate in Canada. As was the case with the war between Pakistan and India, I was once again forced to leave Iran midway through my medical school education during the Iranian Revolution and resulting in embargo and move to USA. I was only 6 months away to becoming a stateless, in other words, an illegal. I was fortunate to meet Dr. Louis Sullivan, who was then the dean and president of a new medical school, the Morehouse School of Medicine. I was a member of the charter class of the Morehouse School of Medicine, but transferred to and eventually graduated from Emory Medical School. During my training, I chose to work at Grady Hospital so I could fulfill my dream, that dream to serve the underserved. My mother recalls today how my dad cried throughout my graduation ceremony. I had lived his dream. I believe my story and experience is similar to what most of you have had to go through. This is a great country and a land of opportunity. This is where you get rewarded for hard work, merit, and integrity. Here is where your color, race, sexual orientation, or religion is not supposed to matter. I am deeply, deeply grateful to this country that has given me the many, many opportunities to receive a great education and to be able to serve in many leadership positions where I have been able to give back to society. However, reality is slightly different today. We have all heard a great deal recently from aspiring politicians about Muslims. These are people who know very little about Islam and Muslims, or the contributions Muslims have made to their adopted home and to civilization. Since 9/11, Muslims have been the subject of suspicion and extreme hate. Islam is the religion of 1.5 billion people worldwide. Since its founding, peace be upon the Holy Prophet Muhammad, Muslims have contributed to positive development of human civilization, including medicine, surgery, science, art, culture, music, literature, and much more. The terroristic actions of an infinitely minuscule number of extremist individuals claiming to speak for the faith and using such behavior as a pretext for creating anti-Muslim sentiments globally has created many frightening situations for our Muslim children and adults. Many women who wear the hijab have been teased and threatened. Young girls with scarves have been mocked and frowned upon in schools. The Pew Research Center tells us that there are over 3 million Muslims in the United States, and they represent the third largest faith after Christianity and Judaism. Muslims are better educated, as evidenced by the fact that almost 40% of Muslims hold college degrees as compared to 29% overall. Muslims represent 1% of the total USA population, but the contribution we Muslims have made as citizens is absolutely unmatched. Muslims are approximately 10% of physicians in the United States and form the backbone of medical and research system in the United States. Muslim doctors serve in rural parts of USA where no one else wants to go. Additionally, almost 6,000 Muslims serve in the nation's armed forces. We have all heard about the sacrifice made by the Khan family, whose son gave up his life to protect soldiers under his command. Muslim families whose son gave up his life to protect the soldiers under his command. Muslims as a group own and operate more than 4,000 retail, fast food outlets, and convenience stores. Muslims own and operate hundreds of hotels. Muslims play a prominent role in the field of education and have been pioneers in the field of IT. Muslim scientists lead and chair departments of engineering and are professors of architecture and design. There are Muslim authors here and poets, and believe me, Muslims can even tell great jokes. There are a number of comedians present here. Present here today is a renowned artist, considered among the top 30 in the country. There are university professors here, and CEO and board members of banks, and the list goes on. What is more interesting is the fact that the first Muslim known to have appeared on the US soil was in 1528, a Moroccan slave, and approximately 30% of Africans enslaved in the US were Muslims. In the late 19th and early 20th century, Muslim immigrants arrived from Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, largely settling in the Midwest. Later, many came from Bosnia and Albania and parts of Europe due to persecution. In the 1960s, the Muslim population began to swell as the government lifted immigration quotas, and many African Americans began converting to Islam. Half of today's Muslims arrived after 1990. Today, there are approximately 2,100 mosques in the United States. This deserves an applause, ladies and gentlemen. Many of our successful entrepreneurs, both men and women, are here today. They are law-abiding. They are tax-paying citizens. They create jobs and are a boost to the economy of the country. Many serve on civic boards, are founders and the backbone of our civic society, serving with their time, knowledge, and resources, and empower our citizens. Names such as Khan, Sheikh, Ali, Muhammad, and such are now household names. Present here are founders of charities that work tirelessly, delivering clothing, books, computer literacy classes, food, helping pay utility bills, assisting in driving lessons, and providing used cars to refugees and new arrivals and immigrants. And there are charities delivering wheelchairs to the physically challenged. Perhaps it is time to say enough is enough and stand up and be counted. Muslims have been here for 5 centuries. We are asking to be treated equal. We ask that we and our children be respected and be included as equal. We do not appreciate the unjust and rhetoric referring to us in negative connotation. It is hurtful and demoralizing. We grieve and hurt as much when a misguided, mentally unstable, all-evil terrorist kills. This brings no happiness to us. There is no celebration or dance by any Muslim community here when such attack happens. To ban my mother or my mother from visiting me would be totally injustice, wrong, and unfair. We ask that you continue to be our friends. We seek justice and an honest dialogue for the safety of our families. Honorable guests, I cannot describe the joy when I received my citizenship, my US citizenship. We are patriotic citizens. We will continue to remain loyal to the United States. For me, like my brothers and sisters, we have escaped terror, persecution, war, injustice. We have nowhere else to go. We have come home. Now, if I may speak very briefly to my brothers and sisters. As citizens, it is our civic right to vote. And in order to vote, one must become a citizen first. The process can take up to 3 months, so time is running out very quickly for this election cycle. Unlike where many of us come from, you get to exercise the freedom to which party and which candidate you vote for. As a citizen, you can even apply to work for a government position. And for those aspiring to become candidates, time is running out. The election session is around the corner. And secondly, read up on the candidates, listen to their speeches and to their pronouncements about minority, about Muslims, and watch the debates so you know who is representing your views. Participate in the local and national election process. If you like a candidate, support him or her financially or with a vote. Have a tea and have a fundraiser at your house. Participate in local civic organizations. Contribute your time, money, and effort by volunteering at schools, hospitals, nursing homes, health clinics, and food banks. Everybody's skill has a value. Each of us as a Muslim has a unique story. and each of us adds to the diversity and richness that is woven in the fabric of what makes this the greatest and most respected and most powerful nation in the world. Our Commander-in-Chief, President Obama, and his successor hold the highest office in the world. This is the most powerful nation in the world, the home of justice and compassion. Nothing must ever happen to it to make it any different, ever. My gratitude, distinguished guests, for bearing with me. I have gone over my time, and I apologize for that. I'm grateful for your patience and your time. God bless America and all its citizens.